Okay, so it feels like artificial intelligence is just everywhere now, doesn't it? I mean, you see it in your streaming recommendations, tools businesses are using. It's hard to miss.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely moved beyond just buzzwords.
Right. And that's what this deep dive is about, really trying to get a proper handle on where AI is actually headed, what it really means for us.
Exactly. We've looked through a bunch of different articles, sources analyzing the trends, the societal impacts, and, well, making some pretty informed predictions for the next few years.
So the idea is to pull out the really important bits, help you listening get a clear picture without getting totally swamped.
That's the plan. Find the key takeaways, maybe uncover a few things that make you go, huh, didn't know that.
Okay, sounds good. So first things first. When we say artificial intelligence, what are we actually, what's the core definition we should be working with?
Yeah, good starting point. So simply put, AI is the ability of machines or computer-controlled robots to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. That's the basic idea.
Right.
And usually people break AI down into sort of stages or categories. Right now, we're very much in the era of narrow AI, sometimes called weak AI,
Narrow AI meaning?
meaning it's designed for very specific tasks.
Hmm.
Think self-driving cars needing to navigate, or your phone understanding voice commands,
Huh.
highly specialized.
Gotcha. And the other types?
Well, those are more theoretical for now. You got general AI, or EGI, that's the idea of AI having like the broad cognitive abilities of a human. And then there's super AI, which would, surpass human intelligence altogether.
Wow. Okay. But just to be clear, everything we're seeing and using now is that narrow AI.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's important to remember that distinction. We're not dealing with HAL 9000 just yet.
It's funny, though, because you picture AI maybe even just 10 years back, and it's all like humanoid robots, right?
Totally.
But the sources we looked at point out that AI, maybe less flashy AI, has actually been working away in the background for a long time.
Oh, yeah, that's a really key point. The sci-fi image is strong, but AI has been contributing behind the scenes for decades. Back in the 1980s, you had these things called expert systems.
Expert systems.
Basically rule-based systems.
Oh.
They're used for stuff like inspecting circuit boards on assembly lines or detecting potentially fraudulent credit card use. Pretty useful stuff.
And this was the 80s.
Yep. And then you also had early machine learning techniques like genetic algorithms being used for complex scheduling problems. And neural networks were starting to be applied in industrial control systems.
So definitely not robots walking around, but intelligent systems doing real work.
Exactly.
Right.
Practical application.
And then things shifted again in the 90s, right? Something about probabilities.
Yeah, the 1990s saw a huge leap with probabilistic and Bayesian methods. Think of it as computers getting much better at reasoning with uncertainty and learning from data to make predictions.
Yeah.
This was a real game changer. It led directly to a lot of the AI we rely on now, especially for things like searching the web. Suddenly, search could understand the meaning behind your words, not just match keywords. Semantic search.
Ah, right. That makes sense why search got so much better.
It really did.
And wasn't there someone even earlier, like way back, who kind of predicted all this? Turing?
Alan Turing, yeah.
Huh.
A total visionary.
Mhm.
Back in 1947, he predicted that by the end of the 20th century, we'd just sort of accept the idea of machines thinking as normal, that it would be part of our everyday language.
And looking around now, he wasn't far off, was he?
Not at all. Pretty insightful. The actual term artificial intelligence itself popped up in the 1950s.
Right.
And from there, you had that first wave of interest in neural networks in the 50s to 70s. Then machine learning really took off from the 80s through the 2010s. And well, now we're deep into the deep learning era. It's been this constant buildup.
Okay, that history really helps set the stage. So let's shift gears. Looking forward, say, the next 5 years or so, what are the big trends, the key predictions the sources are highlighting?
Well, one thing that comes up consistently is this idea of the speed of life increasing.
Speed of life.
Yeah. As more and more organizations, businesses, governments, you name it, start using AI for making decisions and interacting with people, things are just expected to move faster. AI can process huge amounts of data incredibly quickly, right? So decisions happen faster.
Which suggests potential for big efficiency gains.
Absolutely. That's another major point. Businesses are going to feel, well, almost pressured to adopt generative AI.
Generative AI, that's the kind that creates stuff like text or
Yeah.
images.
Exactly. Tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, that kind of thing. The pressure comes from needing to be more effective, boost profits, and just generally be more efficient. If your competitors are using it, you kind of have to, right?
Makes sense from a business perspective. But what about the wider impact, the societal stuff?
Yeah, the sources definitely get into that. And privacy is a big one, a really big one.
How so? More than usual.
Well, the concern is that these AI systems are getting so good at gathering and analyzing data about us, potentially knowing more about our patterns and preferences than we do ourselves.
Hmm.
And while privacy worries aren't new, the cost of accessing and crunching all that personal data is plummeting, while the algorithms are getting way more powerful. Some analysts are even asking if we're heading towards, like, the end of privacy as we know it.
That's a pretty stark prediction.
It is. It raises massive questions about how we protect personal information going forward.
Which leads to regulations, I guess. Is the law catching up?
Well, it's trying. We're likely going to see what one source called an AI law thicket emerge. Lots more rules and regulations at all levels, local, national, even international.
Like the EU AI Act.
Exactly. That's often cited as a potential benchmark, a possible standard.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty fragmented globally. Different places are taking different approaches. So for businesses especially, navigating that legal landscape is going to get more complicated.
Okay. And on maybe a more positive note, the sources also talked about human AI teaming. What's that about?
Yeah, this is really important, I think, for how people feel about AI. Instead of just seeing it as something that takes jobs or automates things away, the focus shifts to collaboration.
So humans and AI working together.
Precisely. Leveraging the strengths of both. Human creativity, critical thinking, empathy, combined with AI's power to process data, find patterns, handle the grunt work. The idea is to achieve more together than either could alone. It's framed as augmentation, not just displacement.
Augmentation. I like that framing. It helps manage some of the fear, maybe?
That seems to be the hope, yeah. Less about a takeover, more about a partnership.
Okay, that distinction feels pretty crucial. So let's dig into some specific industries. How is AI expected to change things in, say, healthcare?
Oh, healthcare is poised for some massive changes. AI has huge potential for analyzing symptoms, data from fitness trackers, medical histories, all to help diagnose diseases, maybe even suggest treatments. Plus, it could streamline how hospitals run, cut costs, improve efficiency. And then there's personalized medicine tailoring treatments to your specific genetic code
Yeah.
and speeding up medical research, drug discovery. The potential impact is enormous.
Sounds revolutionary, honestly. What about education? How might AI change schools?
The potential there is for much more personalized learning. Imagine educational experiences tailored to each student's personality, how they learn best, their individual abilities.
So it could help kids who are struggling and those who are flying ahead.
That's the idea, yeah. Benefit everyone by adapting to them. And we're already seeing more AI courses popping up, which tells you something about the skills needed for the future.
Makes sense. Okay, moving to finance. It feels like AI is already pretty embedded there.
It really is. You've got AI algorithms managing equity funds, crunching way more variables than a human manager ever could, and sometimes outperforming them.
Right.
And that's likely to accelerate. AI-driven trading, faster investment decisions.
Yeah.
Is disrupting the traditional ways. Plus, you'll probably see more robo-advisors giving automated financial advice and this concept of bionic advice.
Bionic advice.
Yeah, basically blending AI's analytical power with, human intuition and judgment from a financial advisor. Kind of the best of both worlds.
Interesting. Okay, from money to military and cybersecurity, what's the impact there?
Well, AI is definitely being developed for those areas. Think autonomous weapon systems, AI tools to help analyze intelligence, improve mission planning, bolster national security.
That sounds potentially scary.
It raises significant ethical questions, for sure. And one key concern is something called explainable AI.
Meaning you need to know why the AI made a decision?
Exactly. Especially with complex deep neural networks, sometimes it's like a black box. You get an output, but understanding the exact reasoning behind it can be really difficult. And in high-stakes military or security situations, that lack of transparency is a major worry.
Yeah, I can absolutely see why. Okay, something more everyday, perhaps, transportation. Cars.
Well, smart cars are already here, obviously. But the sources predict a big jump in AI tech inside vehicles. Connected cars are becoming standard cars that use AI for predictive maintenance, finding optimal routes, warning about hazards.
And self-driving.
The prototypes are getting better. Deployment is happening slowly, gradually. It's still a complex challenge, but the progress is definitely there. Expect more AI assistance features long before fully driverless cars are everywhere.
Right. And finally, what about advertising and marketing? How's AI changing that world?
It's giving marketers some incredibly powerful tools. AI can analyze mountains of past campaign data to figure out what really works, letting companies replicate success and spend their budgets more effectively.
So better targeting.
Better targeting, smarter sentiment analysis to understand what consumers are really saying online, automated lead generation, even predicting market share or analyzing competitors more deeply. It's quite transformative for that field, too.
Okay, so it's clear the impact is going to be broad and deep across so many sectors. Let's zoom out again. Beyond specific industries, what are the big societal shifts we need to think about? We talk privacy. What else?
The workforce is probably the biggest one. How AI changes work itself.
The whole robots taking our jobs thing?
Well, yes and no. AI definitely can automate tasks, both tedious ones and surprisingly complex ones. This should boost productivity. It could free up humans to focus more on creativity, strategy, empathy, things AI isn't good at.
So it's not necessarily just job losses.
It's more complicated. Some studies, like one mentioned for the UK, predict millions of jobs could be displaced by AI over the next decade or so.
Yeah.
But they also predict millions of new jobs could be created.
New kinds of jobs.
Exactly. Roles focused on managing AI, data science, robotics, perhaps entirely new fields we haven't even conceived of yet. So it looks less like mass unemployment and more like a major transformation of the skills and jobs that are valued. A big shift.
That's a really important distinction. Change, not just elimination. Okay,
Yeah.
but there are definite downsides or challenges we need to watch out for.
Oh, absolutely. A huge one is bias. AI systems learn from data,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if the data they're trained on reflects existing societal biases, racial bias, gender bias, whatever the AI can actually learn and even amplify those biases, that can lead to really unfair or discriminatory outcomes in things like hiring, loan applications, even policing.
That's a serious problem.
It is. And then there's accountability. If an AI makes a mistake, maybe deny someone a crucial service unfairly, who's responsible?
The developer.
The user.
Yeah.
The AI itself. It gets murky, especially with those black box systems we mentioned earlier.
So we need safeguards, oversight.
Definitely. Careful development, thinking hard about the data we use, building in transparency and ways to check the AI's work, maybe even formal standards for ethical AI deployment. It's crucial to get this right as AI becomes more integrated.
Okay, so for anyone listening who's maybe feeling a bit anxious about their job or the future of work, what's the grounded perspective here based on the sources?
Yeah, it's understandable to feel anxious, but the main message seems to be wholesale replacement of most human jobs by robots probably isn't happening tomorrow or even in the very near future.
It's more about augmentation again.
Exactly. Many jobs will likely be enhanced by AI, not eliminated. Think about data scientists, doctors, nurses, designers, writers, software developers, teachers, marketers, lawyers. They'll likely use AI tools to become better at their jobs, more efficient, capable of more.
But people will need to adapt, learn new skills.
Absolutely. That's the key. There will be a real need for workforce adaptation, reskilling, lifelong learning to develop the skills needed to work alongside AI, manage it, understand the data. That transition is the critical part.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. Looking at everything, what are the biggest opportunities AI offers, and what are the absolute key challenges we have to tackle?
On the opportunity side, it's huge. Better decision-making thanks to rapid data insights, highly personalized products, services, even education and healthcare. The potential for breakthroughs, especially in science and medicine, is immense.
And the challenges?
The big ones we've hit on, really nailing data privacy in this new landscape, actively fighting bias and ensuring fairness in AI systems, and crucially, managing that workforce transition, helping people adapt their skills for an AI-infused future. Those feel like the main hurdles.
It's definitely not some far-off sci-fi concept anymore, is it? It's here, it's evolving fast, and it's going to touch pretty much every part of our lives. Amazing potential, but also some really serious questions we need to address head-on.
Couldn't agree more. And, thinking about how fast this is all moving, how deeply AI is getting woven into everything, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Beyond the specific things we talked about today, the efficiency gains, the industry changes, what are the truly fundamental shifts coming in, like, basic human roles, our responsibilities, how society itself is structured? Looking out over the next 10 years or so, what kind of future do you listening anticipate or maybe even hope for? How do we make sure we actively shape this, steer it in a direction that reflects our best values?
That's a really powerful call to leave people with. Definitely something to chew on. And hey, if anything we talked about sparked your interest, there's so much more out there. AI is a massive field, always changing, always more to learn.